So like I said, I welcome you all to this session that we said the cybersecurity job for you, and also known as getting into cybersecurity. So today, I want to take you through these highlighted topics, which is introducing you to what cybersecurity is all about, and what are the branches, as well as what are the cybersecurity pay ranges that you can get, and how do you get involved in this. Firstly, in any trade, any business that you are, you need to understand what are the tenets. In cybersecurity, our day-to-day activities are anchored on three things: CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It's not the Central Intelligence Agency, but we love acronyms in cybersecurity. So one of them is CIA, so that I can help you to easily remember. So it is the practice of defending computers, servers, mobile devices, electronic systems, networks, and data from malicious attacks. Even if you ask a secondary school child, they can easily tell you that definitely cybersecurity is something that everybody is aware of. If you have a bank app on your mobile phone, definitely you need to secure that. And they do all sorts of things now. They ask you for multi-factor authentication. When we say multi-factor authentication, it means more than two. So you can have something you have, something you know, and something you do. So definitely, so they ask you to put a token. And some people, they don't give credence to Nigeria. A lot of credit to Nigeria banking sector, GT Bank in particular. We've been using mobile banking application a lot before I even came into the UK, and we are using it with multi-factor authentication. In some countries, they're not there yet, even in America, because the nature of Nigerian customers cannot be compared. They are really insatiable with what they ask for. So remember these three things that I've told you: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So what do I mean by this? The first thing you need to understand is cybersecurity has become critical to the fabric of any modern business. As breach after breach hits the headlines, it's clear to everyone that organizations need more professionals focused on cybersecurity. These are not my words. It's from Mark Nunikoven, Vice President, Cloud Research, and of Trend Micro. Trend Micro is one of the companies that sell services on antivirus. So they are in better place to tell us that this is a big challenge for us, because they have many systems that use their software and they report back to them in the cloud. So back to what I was saying before, when you say confidentiality, you have confidence in what you're using. That is controlling access to data or information to prevent somebody that is not supposed to have access to it of gaining that secret information. So the absence of that confidentiality is what we call disclosure. So it means you have released what you and I have agreed. What do I mean? You and I. There's always partnership when it comes to confidentiality. You've heard about non-disclosure agreement and all that. These are confidentiality. So in this case, in cybersecurity, we use what we call your username and password for confidentiality. It is you logging into the system. Integrity, I have supplied my data to you. I know my bank account is with you. My academic records are with you. My geologic data, they are with you. So I want to make sure that nobody else can go there and tinker with the information that I've given to you. My insurance details are with you. My health records are with you, the hospital. I want to make sure that person that is accessing it has the right to look at it. And that's what we talk about: protection of information, data from accidental or intentional alteration or modification. So if you don't have any right to see that information to alter it, you won't be able to get it. And you have mechanism for this. We use encryption, we use hashing, we use MAC, message authentication code. So because of this audience, I'm just trying to tell you that there are controls we use. Imagine that you're in a house. You want to access your house. You need the key. That's your what? That's your username. and the password, because you know the house you're going to, and you turn the lock, the door opens for you. That's your username and password that you've used there. So when you get into the house too, the information that you kept somewhere, the money you kept somewhere in the safe, that is when we talk about integrity. You go to open the safe and you count the money, you access your gold, your silver, your platinum, whatever you have saved there, you're able to get them in the same pristine nature that you've kept them in there. So that's what integrity is all about. Just imagine that. I'm just trying to give us examples that will help us to understand this better. Okay, the last one, destruction. You know, availability is the act of allowing the person to gain access to whatever he or she has kept with you. You know, let's take bank as an example. You open your banking app, you look into your account, you're supposed to see £100,000 there, and then you open it. You are able to access it. You want to transfer, you're able to transfer. What if you cannot gain access to that? It has happened to every one of us at one point or the other. You get into your bank, you want to access your account details, you cannot. That is lack of availability, inaccessibility. And total unavailability of that is what we call destruction. Maybe your server crashed, or you've been ransomware, which we're going to look at if time permits. So what are the branches that are using this that I've mentioned to you? We have lots of branches. I just wanted to take us through this few for now. Vulnerability management, majority of us here, we've heard about MOT. You go to MOT center, you take your card there, they run a computer test on it. They come up with a report. That report, you see green, amber, and red. You are driving, you get to the traffic light. You see what? You see red, amber, and green again. So these are notification, identification that something is wrong if it's red. So when it's red, be careful, stop at traffic lights. If anything is red, take care of that. That's what they're warning. You know, if you, for instance, go to the hospital, you perhaps you go to A&E. If you go to A&E, what do you see? A&E, the triage. What do they do? What do I mean by triage? They put people into various classes. What do I mean by that? In terms of your ailment that you have come to report. So they put you into a class, and that is how the doctor will attend to the people that came to the A&E. So the same thing if you take your car for MOT, that is the way the issues that they find will be attended to. If your brake pad is showing red, they tell you cannot pass this test until you take care of this brake pad. We're going to change it for you. So we do what we call vulnerability management. It is like status of the system. We'll run that test and it will tell us what is wrong without your system, without your laptop, without your mobile phone, without your server. So we have what we call vulnerability management tools. They do scanning and they tell us reports, and we tell who is in charge. We are assurers. We are managers. We don't get our hands dirty. We'll just tell you, hey, your system is not strong enough. Can you do X, Y, Z? And let me know when you have done it. Then you run that test again. Imagine how sweet that job is. Then application security, some people, they write codes. Code writers, they're the ones that give us application. You go to app stores, you download application. These apps, we go to Android Play Store, download apps all the time. You don't know that you have downloaded malware sometimes because a lot of them, they bypass the, what is it called, the control in place in Google. But Google, too, they are very smart. They continue running their application tracking systems to check whether some of these codes meet some requirements. So there are some guys that will look at this code. They don't do it by hand. Gone are those days in the 80s, 90s. You have to look at each code line by line and see whether they've done the correct thing. So this has now been automated. We have DAST, SaaS tools that you can use. SonarCube is one of them. You run the application that person has written through that code, through that software that I mentioned before. Could be Sonar Cloud, SonarCube. and it will tell you what are the errors, and then you'd have a chat with the code writer that we need to beef up the security because we have found XYZ amount of weaknesses. That's what we call them. And that is related to vulnerability management that I mentioned earlier. Information governance, these are the guys that deal with the C-suite, the OGAs, of organizations. They work with them in terms of developing policies, standards, and procedures, and even guidelines on how to manage the organization. So if you have worked with big organization, corporate organization, you must have come across these words that I've used: policies, standards, procedures, guidelines. So it's all about documentation. That's what these guys do. They write a document. If you join any organization, they'll send you policies to read. This is the work of these guys. They will write acceptable use policy. They will write risk management policy, all kind of policies, and do back and forth with the management. And these are the responsibility of the management, but they've like what? They've given you that delegated responsibility to come up with those procedures, which they will approve, and they becomes mandatory on the organization. So risk and compliance, like I mentioned before, these are the guys that every time, every day, day-to-day activities to look at what are the threats that organizations are exposed to. Are we in the city center where there are a lot of crime rates, and we need to make sure that we beef up our security? We need to have a physical presence of somebody manning the organization entrance and exits. So things like that, having cameras in place. So they will make sure they look at all the threats around the organization and tie down to identify what the vulnerabilities that exist within the organization. Maybe there are burglars around and you don't have doors that are under locks and keys. That's a risk. These threats, they will take advantage of this vulnerability, and hence why we say risk is a combination of the vulnerability and the impact. And some people will add asset. What is the cost of that asset? Adding these three ingredients together, and they'll give you risk. So that's how easy it is. Compliance means that ISO 27001 gives a requirement on how to secure your organization. And this requirement, we make sure that we have met those expectations. So you come in as an expert, as a professional, you do a gap analysis, check what organization has done. Do we have security personnel manning the door? Do we have camera? Do we have system whereby people can tap in their badge to come in, things like that? So they will do that and make sure that you follow what organization has approved for. If you don't do that, that is a gap, and they mandate the organization to fill up these weaknesses or eliminate them if you like. Data privacy. We know these days we've heard about GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. That means that before, if you give your details to Barclays Bank, before they have power over the data you have transferred to them. But GDPR, or Data Protection Act, which is for UK, they've not transferred that power back to you, the data owner, which we call data subject. So you can just knock on their door, excuse me, I don't want you to have my data anymore, erase my data from your system. You have my birthday written wrongly, can you change it for me? I don't want you to deal with so person my data. So you have all these kind of rights. You have data minimalization, data legality, you have purpose, many things that you have to think about under data privacy. There are some guys, that is what they are looking at. They do data protection impact assessment. Look at the data within the organization. Do they have sensitive data? Do they have critical data? Do they have private data? Do they have public data? And come up with how to protect this data from unauthorized third party having access. So third-party risk assessment. An organization, let's take NHS as an example. For Blessing, let's take General Hospital, for example, in Nigeria. So this organization, they have data they are keeping, and they have third-party organization working with them. Those ones looking at pathology, they look at the blood test, they take the results, and then keep them for the organization for research purposes. So we want to make sure they have the right employees. You ask, have they done a kind of background check for these users that are working with them? Are they themselves qualified to do the business they claim for? Have they been labeled as bankrupt in the recent time or in the past? Is any of the director a sexual offender? So third-party risk assessment, those are the things we do. Is this person trustworthy? Is this organization eligible to do this work they said they want to do? So that's the work of somebody again. Business continuity planning, like Fatima is here, there are various jobs. Somebody can just hire you and say, what you'll be doing for us is business continuity and disaster recovery. Why are they doing that? Because their kind of business is highly critical. So they continue to think about how their business can fail and put in place methods, mechanisms that will prevent them from going out of service. For instance, take a bank, for example, or take example, blood bank. Take, for instance, a section where they do highly critical operation, heart, a cardiological operation and things like that. So those areas, there must be power supply all the time. So incident response, in any business, there is always going to be a time whereby you need to start from the status quo. Your server may crash. It could be that you're under attack, ransomware. So incident, how do we respond when there's an incident within the organization? So some people are responsible for that. We call them Security Operations Center, SOC. That's what we call them. Then the next one, security awareness. Some people, they love to train. They like to talk. They like to put people in line, making sure that they don't do what is against the organization. So some people are part of training. They train people, and that's what they look out. They look out for people that are failing to follow the requirements against phishing, people that will not look closely, deeply into any message that is being sent to them. They just click anything clickable. So some people are responsible for making sure that those people, they fall in line. If they fail, they click that, they send them back to training until they fall in line. Some people can even get sacked. So some people are responsible for doing this. But if you like technical bits, network security will be for you. This is where you'll be like writing syntaxes on how to secure network, like the internet you use at home. There are some people responsible for that security from the service provider. They make sure you are who you say you are, so that somebody else will not take over your access and commit offenses using your IP address. Every home has a unique IP address, and that's how we can trace any hacker, provided they've used the internet. If you have not used the internet, you may get away with that. But if you have used internet, there's always a fingerprint of your movement, and that we can use that to piece information together and arrest you. So the next one, because of the introduction I've done, so let's see, what are the skill gaps from what I've mentioned before? You have threat assessment or information risk management. There are lots of positions around this that are looking for people, assurance, audit, compliance, or testing. They are looking for more people in this area because the technical guys, they have this false sense of confidence. I am very good at what I'm doing. I have this certification, I have that certification. They want somebody that can challenge that and tell me, what have you done? Have you tested it? Can I see the results? So that's where you and I will step in. Cybersecurity research. There are lots of things happening. Threat and intelligence is a big challenge now. So we need people that can help us do research and come up with innovative ideas that can help us reduce the number of attacks, and then implementing security systems. Then you need people that would like implement security solutions that you've bought. Maybe it's DLP, data loss prevention, CASB, cloud access security broker, etc. So we need people that will implement that. So that's another big area. And governance and management. This is very, very important because the management, they have to delegate their responsibility because it's a lot and requires a lot of focus. That is why they are looking for people in governance and management as well. So let's look, what are the cybersecurity skill gaps? Based on research that has been done, apprentices, they need 4%. For entry level, they need about 27%. And for middle level, which is senior staff, they will have 3 to 5 years of experience, and about a lot of them are in demand. So if you have tailorable experience within this area, you can readily get a cybersecurity job. And you can see for principal level, 30%, and for the topmost level, which are director level, they are 80%, sorry, 80% of those positions available. So the bulk of skill strategies are among middle management and other senior roles, which require 3 or more years of experience. So this can be filled with trainings, certification, and mentoring. And that is what I'm preaching to you today. I'm pitching to you today. I'm selling to you today, because there are lots of skill gaps. This is another one from Indeed. If you look at on the one I have on my left-hand side, Israel is a small country though, but you can see how many people they are looking for. They're looking for lots of people to help them do this job. And this is based on 2016 report. And the same thing for the right-hand side. So I'm just showing this here so that you can know that we've been having these gaps upon gaps that are piling up for some time now. So if you are interested in getting into cybersecurity, there are ways, there are shortcuts that we can help you to get into that trade. And cybersecurity is a job that you'll be so pleased you continue to do for the rest of your life and enjoy doing it. So globally, we have about 4 million jobs out there, and you can see the breakdown of these jobs. In Europe, about 291,000. In Nepal, 2.6 million. Like that, there are many jobs that are available, and we're looking for people to fill up this position. You can see Africa is not mentioned here because their news do not cover this area. And again, this one you're looking at here, if I go further now, you see that it ranges in millions of number of positions that are available. In another year, they said it's 2.72 million. This is from ICSQ rather. They said it's 2.72 million, and they said effectively 65% of this job would be needed to do what? To defend organizations against attacks on their critical assets. So there are bound to be a lot of reports out there that you see that there are a lot of jobs available. Then here in sectors on the right-hand side, you see the most place that they need people more is within finance and insurance, 22%, and in IT itself, 17%, like that. Look at aerospace and look at consultancy. You can work as a consultant within industry. And on the left-hand side, you see the roles, the kind of roles that are needing more people. Security engineer, do not let that engineer scare you. It's not engineer that starts, you can be compared to construction engineer, things like that. Engineer, the meant is you can operate the software that they gave you to protect the organization, and you can interpret the report, and which the training that I'm pitching to you, that I'm selling to you today, helps you to do, because I have people that have attended the training here. They can confess to the depth of the training and what you want to gain out of it. So the demand for cybersecurity professionals has increased significantly in 2021, and this continues to surpass the post-pandemic recovery in demand seen in autumn 2020. So that's this CMS Cybersecurity Labor Market Report. And it's the same thing you see for the other ones. Skill gaps tend to be what, relatively speaking, equally prevalent in a range of areas like incident management, investigation, or digital forensics. I want to show us something because it is important to back up what I'm saying, back up my claim with evidence. If I don't do so, I've not done justice to what I'm doing today. So that you know this report actually exists. Excuse me. Where is it? Okay, let's look at this first. This is the report that I'm talking about. Cybersecurity skill gaps. This is 2022. And if I skim through, let's say, okay, let's look at current skill gaps. 51% of private sector businesses identify a basic technical cybersecurity skill gaps. Basic. That is a lack of confidence in performing a range of basic cybersecurity skills, tasks, or functions. This estimate is in line with previous years. It accounts for what? Around 697,000 UK businesses are looking for people that will just have basic cybersecurity. And a third of this business have more advanced technical skill gaps in areas such as penetration testing, forensic analysis, security architecture or engineering, threat intelligence, interpreting malicious code, and user monitoring. This is also in line with previous year, right? And the same thing, they will continue like that to talk about what are the areas that we need more people. And if you can lay on this report, you can see here extent to which businesses are confident in performing basic cyber security tasks. Very confident, you see, and not very confident, red, and not at all, and as well as they don't even know, some are like that. So setting up configured firewalls to like secure your fence, that's what we're talking about here. 22% are confident, what? And this one, fairly confident at 39, and 21%, they don't have confidence at all. And what is it? 3%, they don't even have an idea. So these are based on the recent report by the government. It's not just any person on the street that did this report. So you can continue to look at that report and you see that they mention which area and what technical skills that you require. So if I know somebody is in need of a particular product and I know I have access to supplying those material, what would I do? As a businessman, I'll go get those material and go to those people where they are in demand. So it's the same thing we're doing today. This is a readily confirmed area that we need people to work in. So this is an existing report. You can download it if you like. Then let me move on to another report. I'm just trying to shorten it because of time. This is ISC Squared, which I'm also a member, a resilient cybersecurity profession charts the path forward. And if you scroll through this report, what are the gaps? They mentioned their study was conducted in the wake of unprecedented nation-state compromises of what? Software supply chain, as well as surging ransomware attacks. That's what? Crippled critical infrastructure and disrupted vital services around the globe. NHS UK was attacked by WannaCry, that all the doctors, they have to go back the old method of using manual process of getting information. So these are the things driving, and look at that. What are the areas that they felt that they need more people? Securely provisioning, that is having new devices, assets, server, analyzing issues, protect and defending, setting up your firewall and the likes. So these are areas which they are needing people. And look at that. So what are the main consequences of shortages of staff? Lots of systems are misconfigured, and this is like you opening a back door into your home. Then not enough time for proper risk assessment. They don't do thorough risk assessment because you don't have enough people, and you're always putting them under pressure. Slow to patch critical systems. Because of this lack of resources again, what would they do? They're very slow in carrying out the required fix to the problems that we found. And oversight in process and procedure. Instead of having oversight function on all the procedures and processes, the people are not enough, so they will not be able to do that as they should. So these are vital reports that are telling us that we need more people in cybersecurity. So let me go back to what I was sharing earlier, and then we'll take it from there. So click on this. Now, so we've talked about this, and I've taken you through some of the things that have been recorded as the nature of the weaknesses that we have. So let's look at this. I think on this list, the organization I pity the most is Marriott Hotels. They acquired a company which is called Starwood. And within that period, before they acquired them, the company was already attacked. They have man in the middle. They have fraudsters in their network, but they bought them. And because they bought them, it became their responsibility, and they have to pay £99 million to the government. And look at the topmost one, £183 million. That is what British Airways paid for failure to protect their organization very well. And I can tell you, these companies that I'm mentioning, they're recruiting very fast. So the next one is Facebook. They're really, really lucky. If you heard about Cambridge Analytica, this is about data. They collected our data. If you are one of us, then collected our data, and then they put their faces up. And what do they do? You have to be fined for whatever you have done wrong, because the organization is responsible for whatever has happened to the customer's data. So for Cambridge Analytica, they collected the data. They were able to manipulate the US election and identify people to change their mind in terms of how they behave or how they vote. So that's what Cambridge Analytica was fined for. So the last one, Equifax, they were fined how much? £561 million in by US, I think, Federal Trade Center, I think, if I get it correctly. So that's what they did to them. So they failed to protect data up to 50 million UK citizens who were hit by 2017 cyber attack. So now, if what I'm saying is has become interesting to you, there are various ways you can become a cybersecurity professional. And the commonest one, you see cybersecurity analyst. Some people will move from one position to another. Maybe they were a cybersecurity technician before, or they've just been doing investigation, or just an analyst. They can become what? A cybersecurity analyst. So, but do not look at how do I become that. What you would need to do is to acquire some knowledge, and take some certifications, even because I have some free ones which I share with people. Then you take those ones to put them on your CV and start getting calls and be prepared for the interview. That's all it requires. And as you're going for interviews, try and work on your weaknesses. So they say for anything that you want to do in life, if you know your destination, your journey is short. If you know how to get there, your journey is shorter. But if you have someone taking you there, your journey is the shortest. So what I will help you do if you attend our training is to start you on the journey, start weighing where you think or where I think you should be, and then we take a deeper look into that area, and then we take our strategic cap, put it on, and like a game of chess, and trying to find out how we can make sure that we beat the recruiter so that we can speak with the hiring manager and get decision that we have become hired. And that is it, to become a cybersecurity professional. Some of the people that I've trained, some will just do one interview, they get a job. Some within 1 month, they find their job. Some it will be 3 months, some 6 months. So it depends on the drive. So take, for instance, people will tell you when you came into the UK, if you're looking for a job, here is the best one. When you want to do that, you put your head down, you make sure that you're able to apply for it and then get the job, right? So the same thing here too, you put your head around it and make sure that you do what is expected of you and be called for interview and win the interview and get the job and secure yourself on the job. How to get the job is difficult than keeping the job, because all requires in keeping the job is that be a good listener and be willing to make effort. That's all required. They can hardly sack you, because in the first instance, there are very few people. People are changing jobs as they like new clothes. They just change job. If the job does not meet their future ambition, they move on. So that's what we get in cybersecurity. So cybersecurity pay ranges. What are the pay ranges that you see? If what you see on the screen is familiar with you, is something that you like. I'm not talking about somebody that's in America, because this money may be like, oh, the figure may not be as high as you think in America, but by the time you do the conversion, you see there's a little difference. So on the left-hand side, you see average salary, 80K, and for some, you can get 55,000. I've had people that I trained, they went on to collect 45,000 without having any experience before. So your tax would take some out of your money, and whatever remains is yours. So these are the likely pay ranges that you can get in cyber security. But let me now confirm my lies to you. Let me see whether you would know whether I'm telling you the truth. Let's go to one of our popular website that we get jobs. Total Jobs is what it's called. And when we go to Total Jobs, let me share my screen. No, if I'm sharing my screen, let me share the whole of the screen so everybody can see everything that I'm displaying. All right, so this is now, you see, because I have an account, it said, hi, Said. All right, so this is as 27,001. Taiwo, you can see that. And Fatima, you can see that. So if you put that, you see, it brought out some other one, but I want to use as 27,000 when I search. So when I search, it is trying to give me, see now, top party risk specialist a day, 450 to 500 per day. And then like that, you see, 65,000 IT risk specialist, as 27,001 IT risk specialist, you see, different job roles and different job spec. So you can see this on 30K to 40K per year, information security analyst. So there are jobs out there. We are looking for people. So if it's high time you make that decision and say, oh, I want to take up this challenge, and you don't have to be an IT person to take care of this opportunity. Only few jobs will ask for you whether you are what, an IT person that could do coding, that have been doing it before. The rest, they can teach you on the job. That's what I'm trying to say here. So if we go back to this, so those are the typical pay ranges. You've seen 55. So you can see what I meant. If you look at that area, how much, 31,000. And if you go that way, the salaries that you see here, they fall within that range. So the next thing is, how do you get involved? If you want to get involved, there is a training coming up on the 30th of July, and we're going to finish 10th of September 2022, and usually 9 a.m. to 12 noon, Saturdays only. So what will be the things that we're going to cover? We're going to be looking at introduction to information security management, which includes risk management as well. So we do that on 30th of July, and the next, which is 6th of August, we'll look at networking concept and vulnerability management that I've mentioned to you before. And the next one talking about security standard, privacy and regulatory requirements, PCI DSS and the likes. Then we talk about disaster recovery and business continuity, as well as concept of business, cybersecurity analysis. The next is, these days, we don't want to pay a huge amount of money for buying equipment. So cloud is there for us. We'll work on the cloud. They will give us resources through the method of virtualization. And for CV writing, success at interviews and mentoring opportunity, be the last one, where we would x-ray every angle of it and come up with a solution to, like, what, give you a head start. It depends on how ready you are, is what determines how soon you start going for an interview. We finished one class a couple of weeks, maybe I think 2 weeks ago, and the guys are already going for interviews. And very soon we'll have good news to share for their set. Though people that before them, they have done the same and they've been able to secure themselves jobs. I have no doubt very soon too, they will have their own jobs because opportunities abound. Then who is this course for? Accountants, engineers, business analysts, or what other fields you think you are? Just bring yourself, which is your brain, and your laptop. That's what you require. So these are the search criteria. I think Fatima was one asking me. So these are likely search criteria that you can use to look for job, if that makes sense. All right. Then we talk about how much is the training. That is the cost. And if you need some concession, you can get in touch with us. We'll discuss how to approach it. I mean, for some of my Nigerian folks, the price will be different because I know the purchasing power is different from the UK. So we can talk, whoever wants to do it from Nigeria or for UK, this is the price. And like I said, there's concession if the person has genuine reason. Okay, so Theodore Roosevelt said, in any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. And the worst thing you can do is nothing. So I believe you'll do something today if what I've said so far makes sense to you. And I want to say confidence is what you have before understanding the details. So thank you very much for listening. If you have questions, please, let's look at the questions and help each other to understand what topic I've been talking about, because I don't want to take much of your time, more than we'll have to finish by, oh, wow, we wanted to finish by 8 o'clock. I'll give you additional 10 minutes to see how we can take it from there. So thank you, Aisha. If you have any question now, please keep it coming. I want to enable you to unmute yourself. Right, I've done that. If you want to be called, can we just use the hand raise icon and I can call you and they will take it from there. Okay, just give me a sec. Okay, go ahead, Gideon.
Yeah, thank you, Saeed, for a very good presentation. It was very nice. I was just going to ask about the exams. So when the certifications you mentioned in that slide with the kind of list of certifications, do those take place alongside the 6 weeks program, or after the 6 weeks program is when you recommend that interested ones take those certifications and exams? And what type of preparation would you think is required to succeed in taking those exams?
That's a very good question. Yeah, I will share my screen again so that we'll look at those certification again, so that we don't talk out of context. Yeah, so these certifications that you're seeing here, this is the foundation. Anybody that attended my training can take this one immediately. This one, you need to go deeply into some other aspect, which I share video materials that you need to watch, and because it has elements of project management. Implementers 27001 needs some skills related to project management because it is a project. So that one, I will say you wait after my training before you go for that, because there are things I need to tell you so that you don't leave a bitter taste in your mouth. CISMP, this one too, it has about 200 pages book, which I would say after my training, that's when you should go for that. And then this one, it's very detailed. You cannot do it along with this training. So if you don't have a good understanding, it is technical, you may not be able to get the exam at one sitting. The next one, CISM and CISSP, these are like gold passport. The CISSP is gold passport. Next to that is CISM. This ones, you need to dedicate about 6 months to them. Or if you are not working within 3 months to 4 months, should be able to take those exams. So some of them, like I said, CISM, CISSP, CompTIA, you cannot take it along with the training. ISO 27001 Foundation, you can take it along with the training. So the rest too, you cannot take them along with the training. Just finish your training and go for that. So, and I have in our midst here, we have a lead implementer who is one of the people that took my training, and she has gone for the exam and she passed. So we have a lot of success stories, people that have gone from this training to become A, B, and C like that. So I think I hope I've been able to answer your question. Sorry, Gideon.
Yes, you have. Thank you so very much. Are we getting the slides, these ones?
Yeah, I can supply it to you if you want.
Okay, thanks, Ali. Very good.
Any other question? What happens if you don't have enough experience to take the CISSP? I'm aware that you need what? You need a couple of years of experience to take the certification. I mean, there is no certification that will not have rules and regulations. And there are ways in which we help people to beat this request that they are looking for. Because when you pass the exam, somebody needs to be your sponsor. So I can be your sponsor. It's just to say that you've been working in XYZ. even the company you've been working for, we can just help you to do your CV when you pass the exam and you submit it. That's it. It's not. It's a matter of trust. If I trust you, I can stand for you. That's the end. Some people even do for people without knowing them. You just send them your CV and your membership number, and they'll do that for you, provided that you have passed the exam. I hope that helps you, Aisha. So there's no problem with that at all. So Abu, see you. Please go
on. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you for a very powerful and interesting presentation. My question is regarding the CV you just mentioned. But some people like us have not got experience in this area. And I know in my experience, if you don't have something like maybe 2 years of experience and what have you, you might struggle to get a kind of a professional work like this. Is there any provision for people that don't have commercial experience when you are doing a CV? Is there anything you could do to help in that regard?
Yes, we help people to prepare their CV, and example of somebody that we have looked at their CV together, they are here. So when you want to design the CV, but the first thing I tell people is don't apply first, get the knowledge, get the foundation. Once you have taken the training, they will now look at your CV. You've been able to tell me, oh, this is the area I want to focus on. They will do your CV around that area. So every one of us, we have tailorable experience. I tell people, I'm being recorded, but when people came to this country, they want to apply for one job or the other. If you tell them you don't have experience, would they hire you? They would not. So you can't just say, you go into cybersecurity and say you don't have any experience. That's why you are attending this training. And the experience we'll give you here is measurable with what you get on the job. As long as you can take the story, run with it, and you are confident enough to defend it. Like I said, confidence is the first thing you need. If you don't have confidence in doing that, it will come with practice. We have some people that it took them 35 interviews before they get it. You understand? So all you just need is just to make sure that you're persistent, you're consistent. And before you know it, you will get your own job. And to run up, you have an experience that is tolerable. I know you have it, that you can transfer to cybersecurity. I hope that helps.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Any other question? Okay.
May I add something for people that are just starting?
Yeah, please go on, Fatima.
I think for everyone, all your worries and stuff, I was just smiling listening because I had the same exact fears and worries and questions as well. I'll say how you should deal with it is almost like, you know, when you're younger and your mom is not at home and she tells you, oh, this is how you cook rice. You wash the rice, you put it in a pot, put it in water, check. When it's soft enough, taste it and then turn it off, it's ready. It's the same thing with cybersecurity. It's just if you can tell them the steps of how the job is done, they won't ask you to show them how it's done. So if you can tell them the steps, that's your experience right there. You don't really need to worry so much about, oh, would they believe me? Or most of the time, if you're even saying, oh, this is the steps of the experience I've done before, you're applying for a different job because you've really experienced that. You want a new experience now. So the job you're going to now, they won't really expect you to know how to do it because you're starting something new, if that makes sense. Don't worry about any of it. Honestly, it seems scary because it's new, but you will absolutely be fine. Trust me on that one. It's not as scary as it sounds. It's really, honestly, quite simple. It's actually, you'll be looking at the world thinking, why hasn't anyone told you this before? If it's so simple. Well, it's complicated, but simple enough when you understand what it's about. So yeah, just repeat the videos, watch it over and over again so you understand, and you'll be fine. That's what I had to share.
Thank you very much, Fatima. I'm really surprised that you are the one to say this in this session, because I know where you started. But today, the confidence has really come out, and we can see that you see Fatima, she started this journey not up to 2 months, I should say precisely. And you can see the confidence that she exudes now. So all I tell people is just bring your brain and the laptop. That's all I ask you. You be the one to be the judge in the end. And whatever you think you want to do, be that person that trusts in yourself. That confidence is needed in any job you want to do. That's what they look out for. You'll be surprised. One of my mentees was telling me that our own boss was a 26-year-old boy telling him one thing or the other. So it's not a matter of age, whether you are this or that. As long as you have that confidence, that person would listen to you, and we are ready to wait for you. Forget your accent. Don't be afraid. There are a lot of people with worse accents than yours. They would wait. It's an international sector. I was in a team before that we have people from different parts of the world. So it's a global business. So do not be afraid. That's what I have to say. Any other question, please? Silence. Whoever wants to get in touch, I'll just share my number on the screen again, now that we're rounding up, so that you don't say he didn't share his details with us. I'm sharing my screen now. Save the number, take the email, and get in touch for whatever that you need, whatever help that you think you need. We can help you. That will be one of the persons looking for this job. They are in need of approximately 3 million people to do this job all over the world. In UK alone, it's more than 700,000 people they are looking for. So it is important. It is important that we make sure we know what we're looking for, and it's important make sure that we do what is required of us so that we can get the desired result. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. I hope what I have said today makes sense to everyone. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to get in touch, and I'll make sure I answer your questions. Thank you very much. I do get recording, yes. My number that you have there, let me reshare it again. Take that number, send me a message, and the message I meant is send me your email, and I would share the recording with you so that you can download it. So that's my official email, and that's the WhatsApp number. Get in touch, and I'll share it with you. And preach the gospel, tell people about this. We're going to start 30th of July. So if you're interested, let us know. So you can let us know the installment option that you want, and then we can take it from there. And whatever discounts you think you're qualified for, if you have real, cogent reason to get that kind of discount, will be offered to you. So thank you all. I hope that makes sense. Thank you very much. Yeah. Bye now.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, Gideon. Yeah.
We'll get in touch. We'll talk later.
No worries. Thanks.